the video to explain our blog assignments, which what we're going to do on these blogs is create briefs. I wanted to show you first of all what the blog looks like. This is the blog, and we're using it, digitalmediadebate.blogspot.com, and we're using it because I find it to be much more functional than the discussion boards. The main reason is if you check this out, if you go over here and click Flipkart, um, you can see that everyone's blogs are posted and they have the title of what's in there. And so it makes it really easy for you to kind of search through and find what you're looking for. Oh, social networks can facilitate connectedness and community, and click on it, and there you have your research and your sources to build your debate cases. You will receive an invite from someone called Renaissance Human in your email. That's me. If you don't receive it, check your junk mail because sometimes it goes there since it's coming from an outside source. And if you still don't have it, email me and I will resend it. But you should make sure this week that you're on the blog. When you want to post a new blog, you can go to blogger.com, just blogger.com, and you'll see it looks like this. It should say the name of our blog over here, which is Digital Media Debate. And then you can just click New Post, and it will give you a typical kind of screen. You put the claim of your blog in the title, and then you can put everything else down here that we'll talk about in a minute. And if you need to put a hyperlink, you just select the text and click this little thing that looks like a paper clip, and it'll ask you to what the link is. And then once you're done, you just click publish, and it'll be on our blog. One thing that happens when I send these invites is it'll ask you to form your own blog. You can just decline that. Just hit cancel on that. So accept the invitation, and then it'll say, do you want to form your own blog? Just hit cancel on that, and you won't have your own blog, and you won't accidentally post your briefs to your own blog. So make sure that it says Digital Media Debate over here when you go to blogger.com and you click New Post. So what are we posting? Let me just start the slideshow here. What we're posting is called briefs, and this is something that Debate has adopted from the law world. And a brief is basically kind of what it sounds like. It's a brief synopsis of an argument, right? So lawyers would use it, and they would actually put them on like little note cards, right? So that they had references to cases in case those cases came up, and they could pull it out and remember what it was about. And we're using it in a similar way. We're going to use it to help us gather research and write our debate cases and our debate rebuttals. So what is a brief? It's a synopsis of a basic argument. So at the top of the brief, what you should say is, the claim, like social media often helps activists. And so just put that claim and then put the page number you found it in our reading in Lindgren. So you're going to put that at the top of the post. And then what you're going to do is go and find a supporting source for that argument. Lindgren is more summarizing the arguments that are out there in the world. And he's not really taking a stance on these arguments. So it's your job to go find people that are taking a stance and that are supporting those arguments. You might, Lindgren lists a lot of sources. One thing you can do is just go and find the sources that Lindgren lists. That's perfectly acceptable. But you'll have to do a little research to find a supporting source. So what I recommend is as you're reading Lindgren, if there's something that stands out to you that you think would be a strong advantage or disadvantage of digital media, then you choose that to go find some supporting research for, and then you go out and find an article. And then what you'll do with that article is you're going to post, as you can see examples of on the blog, an extended quotation or a paraphrase in your own words from that source that basically, again, briefs or gives us a short version or short sample of what the argument is. So what is on a brief. First of all, the title should be your claim. We worked on claims last week. Again, a claim is just a short sentence that summarizes what the main point is. So in the title box on your brief, on your blog, put the claim and make it a full sentence claim. This makes it so much easier, like I showed you with that flip card view, to skim through quickly and find the claims that you're looking for. Um, After you put that claim in the title, I'd like you to put the page number from Lindgren, which you found that claim in, and then your source. That is your bibliographic information. So the author, the author's qualifications, the date of the publication. I usually put them like this, like Jenkins, Professor of Communication at University of Cincinnati in 2012. And then in parentheses, put the rest of the citation. This is a book, Persuasion Our Lives, edited by Sean Wall, Routledge Press. If you have a website link, that's where you would put it here and hyperlink to it so people can easily find it. And then finally, and the most important part of it, the extended paraphrase or quotation that elaborates the argument. You can just cut and paste a long quotation from the reading that you found, from the article that you found, or you can paraphrase it in your own words. If you do cut and paste a quotation, be sure that it's at least one paragraph and maybe one or two paragraphs in length so that we kind of have the full context of the argument. You might not read the whole paragraph in your debate, but other people, it'll make it easier on other people and we'll understand kind of more of the argument if you put at least a full paragraph. So here's just what one looks like, right? You have the claim, the time is ripe for energy conservation and renewables to enter the mainstream. That would be in your title box. Then you have the source, McKibben, visiting scholar at Middlebury College, 2002. And then I have an extended quotation, which is a full paragraph. So why are we making briefs? Hopefully this is already a little apparent, but it serves as useful reminders to you. Like you might be like, I remember reading something or I found a source on that, but where is that? And this way it's sort of like taking notes. And it shows me also that you have read the Lindgren because you're referencing where you got it in Lindgren from originally, or where you got the original idea. It allows you to prep your arguments beforehand, right? Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to take briefs, and you can take some of your own briefs, and you can take some of your classmates' briefs, and piece them together to form your debate case. And then also use them to rebut your opponent's debate case, that is, to respond to your opponent's debate case. So basically, these briefs create what a ready-made kind of template to respond to common arguments or to combine together to build your debate case, to build what are called the advantages and the disadvantages. When you're reading Lindgren and when you're reading the article you found, just a couple of tips on how to read and what to do as you're reading so that you can make briefs. What I usually do is draw a bracket around the relevant passages. So if I'm reading and I find something about activism in Lindgren, I'll put a bracket at the beginning and a bracket at the end, just as a signal, to myself, oh, hey, here's where I had an idea for a brief. And then usually I'll scribble kind of like the claim in the margins. So I know, so I can quickly look and see, oh, there was a brief. Oh, and this one's about activism. Okay, I got it. And once again, usually a paragraph in length, sometimes two paragraphs. And one other thing to be careful of here are what are called straw person arguments. Straw person arguments are where somebody makes an argument only to tear it down, only to respond to it. So you've probably seen this before in an article. You'll see somebody say, some people argue that, or many people claim that, ... When the author's using wording like that, when they're saying other people are saying this, they might even say a specific author, like Gladwell claims that that's kind of a clue that maybe that's not their point of view, maybe that's not their argument, and that they're about to tear it down. So, if you're seeing something like that, um, be sure to read ahead and read the next couple paragraphs and see if they're now responding to that argument, because you can't use a source to back up an argument that they don't really agree with, right? And oftentimes authors will start off with the argument they don't agree with before they go on to respond. So this is something I see sometimes, and I'll take off points for. So be careful of these straw person arguments. Um, as far as your article, a big part of the grade will be, the quality of the source that you find. Um, so you should look for kind of the highest quality sources. These are usually scholarly sources. And in the research video, I'll talk more about why scholarly sources are important and how to find them. I know sometimes scholarly sources can be confusing or too narrow or idiosyncratic, or too highfalutin. That means that oftentimes I think a better way to do the research is to start off with just like a basic Google search, and instead of trying to find the scholarly source directly, you'll find like a New York Times article or something like that, a USA Today article that says that summarizes a scholarly research study that's been done. And then once you find that, you can go and find the scholarly research article directly. But since the USA Today or whatever outlet it is that you find on Google is it is going to be summarizing it for you, it'll help you make sure that you're finding a study that actually supports that argument and that isn't too narrow or too highfalutin, etc. So, again, why scholarly sources and tips for finding scholarly sources, that will be present in the research video that you should also watch this week. And then once again, if you do find like that USA Today article that's not scholarly, but it does reference some kind of study or it does reference the work of a scholar, go ahead and just post both of them. Post a hyperlink to the USA Today article and to the scholarly source. I want you to paraphrase or find a quotation from the scholarly source. But you can often use both of those things, and there might be other sources in there, and like the USA Today article, that could be really useful for you as well. As far as this grade goes, I'm looking for two things: high quality sources, scholarly sources, like I said, and useful briefs. That is, can I see this brief showing up in a debate? And if it did make a debate, would it make an important and useful point? That is, sometimes people go on tangents or they make a minor point or a minor aside or something like that, or it's more of just like an FYI. Like lots of people use social media, right? We all know that. That's sort of an FYI. It's not really an argument. It's not really going to help build a strong debate case. I think the way to test this is just to ask yourself, like, is this a strong enough quotation that I would definitely want to put it in my debate case? Could I see me winning the debate because of this argument? And if so, you're probably good to go. And if not, I'll explain why in the blog. I mostly end up deducting points for basic things like you didn't put the full source citation, you didn't hyperlink to your article, you didn't put a claim in the title, etc. That's what I find I usually deduct points from, especially after one or two briefs where you start to get the hang of it. I will put the comments on I'll put the grade on InStructure on Blackboard or whatever it's called now, on our class website. But I'll put the comments on what you did right and what you did wrong on the blog directly. So I'll put those underneath, your post as a comment. So that's where you can get your feedback. And finally, it's your responsibility to find unique briefs. That is, if somebody has posted before you and they use the exact same article and they use the exact same quotation that you used, then I'm going to deduct points from that. Um, Maybe even if it's the exact same quotation, a significant number of points. What we want to do with these briefs is have as much research as we can and as much diverse research as we can so that we can build the strongest cases possible. I do expect you to find something unique, to find something different than your other classmates. The reason for this requirement is basically otherwise it would just be so easy for you to let someone else find the article and you go click it and post another quote from it and stuff. Basically, just plagiarizing someone else. So, don't do that. Find your own article. If you do kind of find the same article naturally or uniquely, or without having done that, I would expect that you won't post the same quote. So that way, I will take off fewer points. But it's easy to skim through on the blog, as I showed you with the Flipkart view. So before you post, just skim through and make sure no one else has posted that article already, and you'll be good to go. All right, if you have any questions about this assignment, please let me know. And we will start doing those blogs, I believe, next week. Take care.